Hi guys, this is Stu from Mobile Geeks and we're here at G3S Memorial Hall in Taipei, Taiwan, where we're bringing you a review of the LG G3S. The LG G3S is in essence a smaller version of the LG G3. It's a 5-inch Android smartphone with a 720p IPS LCD display. It's powered by the Qualcomm Snapdragon 400 at 1.2 GHz, has 1 GB of RAM and 8 GB of flash storage. On the rear, you're getting an 8 megapixel camera with laser autofocus. On the front, you're getting a 1.3 megapixel shooter. So let's take a little look now at the build quality and the overall design here on the G3S. And it's similar to what we've seen on previous LG devices. What we have is a very rounded, curved back here, which feels good in the hand. It's very ergonomically sound, I would say. This back cover is, of course, made of plastic. So if you give it a click, there's no doubt that it sounds like plastic, and it is plastic. But the feeling, I don't know how they've done this exactly, whether this is polycarbonate or whether they put metal crystals in there or whatever the hell they've done, but it doesn't feel cheap. It actually feels very professional and almost like kind of brushed aluminium. Now, you can take this back cover off. It comes off like so. I'm not going to take it off right now, but you can see, just as with a lot of Samsung devices, for example, you just unclip that there, and that reveals a removable battery, which is definitely one of the advantages of this guy, because if we think about it, HTC, Sony, a lot of others, these high-end smartphones are not giving you a removable battery. That's because they're using a unibody design. I think LG have a nice balance here where they're using plastic, just as Samsung have with theirs, but somehow they've got a better finish which doesn't quite feel as plasticky. Now on the front here we have a 5-inch screen. We'll get to the screen in a moment, but as you can see, if I just compare this very quickly to the Xiaomi Mi 3, which is also a 5-inch device, it's considerably shorter. This is like a centimeter shorter than most 5-inch devices we've seen, which is one of the reasons why it's ergonomically perfect for people with one-handed use. So on the top of the screen we've got our speaker. Well, this is not a speaker, sorry, this is yes, this is a small speaker, of course it is. This is a 1.3 megapixel camera here. On the back we have an 8 megapixel camera, and of course we've got our little rear button with volume rocker. This is the signature thing from LG, and if you're not used to it, it can be a little bit odd because you're naturally still feeling for buttons around the sides, but I think it actually kind of works quite well once you have gotten used to it, and I have. Having used this and also the G3 before it, I'm actually, I'm almost quite a fan actually. And one good thing about that is it needs the edges to be totally clean and clear, which is actually not bad. On the bottom of here, you have a USB 2 port. We've got an audio sensor right there, a headphone jack located at the bottom, kind of unusual, usually at the top. Here we have some audio sensors. Around the back, you can see we've got the camera placed right in the middle. Next to that, we have the laser autofocus and the LED, an LG sticker on the back, and here's our little speaker. We'll get to the audio test in a few minutes. But overall, it's feeling good and it's pretty light. It's like less than 140 grams, which is amazing for a 5-inch device, really. Let's just turn on this display. There you go. I mean, how bright is that? I mean, okay, this isn't bright daylight right now, but it's a pretty nice display. It's pretty bright and quite responsive despite my clumsy usage there. And it's a 720p, so it's 1280 by 720 pixels this way and that way, and it looks pretty awesome. Let's just go into our gallery here and see how some of these pictures look. You can see that the brightness levels and the color is very, very realistic and accurate, I would say. Yeah, this is not QHD, it's not even full HD, but it doesn't matter. The panel's good quality. We've got the brightness. Let's check this brightness. We have our brightness up full right now, and it's looking really good. We're actually, despite this being a 720p screen, we're very happy with it. It's an IPS, it's LCD, so of course the viewing angles are not an issue. So overall, we're very happy with the display, even though on paper people might turn their nose up and say, "Ew, 720p? I don't want that." So let's focus in on the screen on our LG G3S, which here is a 720p screen. So we're kind of used to seeing 1080 on a lot of devices recently, and of course, very recently on the LG G3, we actually saw a Quad HD 1440p. So some people might initially be a little bit disappointed to only see 720p here.
But there's more to life than pixels, because what we have here is a fantastic looking panel. It's obviously 1280 pixels here by 720, 720p, and it's an LCD IPS display, so the viewing angles are pretty impressive. We've got the brightness turned down quite a bit right now, so it doesn't fool with our camera too much, but I can tell you that outdoors this guy performs really well and is totally viewable and usable in the brightest of sunny conditions. Okay, let's just open up our gallery app here. Okay, so let's check out this image. You can see straight away that the colors are looking very vibrant, very crisp, very sharp. There's great differentiation between all of the colors. Let's zoom in on this darker area here in the corner. If we just zoom in here, we can see that actually it's almost a little difficult to see where the darkness ends and where the bezels begin, because these darks, or these black colors, are very, very dark and deep and very well represented here on this display. Let's have a look at this guy. This is obviously our little beetle friend here. And as you can see, these reds and greens are looking very, very vibrant and very good. Let's just give this a quick comparison next to the G3. So this, of course, is the G3, which is a high resolution or 1440p or Quad HD screen. So we just open up our gallery app, see if we can find the same images. Here we go. Okay, so I think side-by-side comparison, do you see much difference in terms of color reproduction? I would argue absolutely no, that the 720p on the G3S is actually doing very well, and if you like, punching above its weight slightly. You gotta remember also that the Quad HD display here on the G3 can of course come with its own issues in terms of power draw and also heat. You can refer to Nicole Scott's video on this issue. She's not a fan of 1440p screens, and in a way I'm tending to agree slightly, because what we're getting here with the 720p resolution on the G3S is a fantastic looking screen. So I guess in conclusion, I would say that don't be fooled by the lower pixel count. This is just under 300 ppi compared to 500 or just over 500 here on the G3, but don't be fooled. It's the quality of the panel that counts, and here on the G3S we have a very, very nice quality 720p display. Right, so we just check out how do our pictures look in the gallery app. This is a picture of a rare entity. This is a old-fashioned phone in the street. And if we just zoom in on the keypad there on the phone, you can see that actually the clarity is not that great. It's not that crisp at all. Let's just zoom back out of that, and let's have a look at this guy. Now this is an interesting picture. I wanted to see, this is a billboard, it's very bright, and I wanted to see exactly how this could do kind of with the dark area to the side. So here we have this very bright, it looks quite crisp and not so bad, I guess. And here in the darker area, it's actually doing a reasonable job, but not exceptional. But then on some cameras, what you would have here is you'd have this bright area, and this would be almost black. So it's doing okay. Let's just have another look around. We can check out the detail here on Type A main station. Let's have a look at the, yeah, I mean, that's not that clear or crisp, let's be perfectly honest. So I think in general, it's not a bad camera, but it's not one of the best we've seen. It's not what I would call flagship class. Let's just again take a look at that. Yeah, I mean, these are decent pictures, but it's not, yeah, a flagship like what we've seen on the Sony Xperia series and also the Galaxy series. And I guess also the G3 was a pretty decent camera too. It's not quite up to that standard. Let's just check out the audio here on the G3S. So we got Ode to Joy here by Beethoven. Let's just click that. We're expecting the audio to come out of this little guy in the corner here. You control the volume. Okay, so that is actually reasonably loud. We're here outdoors at Chankashek Memorial Hall, and I'm telling you that the people walking past are looking at me saying, "Who's that guy playing Beethoven over there?" So it's definitely audible from quite a few meters away outdoors here. It's also quite clear. I don't sense any distortion. That's pretty impressive. Yeah. So inside the G3S we get a Snapdragon 400 chipset, which is a kind of mid-tier offering from Qualcomm, and the benchmarks will tell you it's actually quite a bit off the top tier stuff that we've seen before with the Snapdragon 801.
But actually what we've seen is that even with the G3, which did use the 801, we still saw some lagginess. Now the G3 has an excuse because it's using a 1440p Quad HD screen, which means a lot more pixels to deal with. So even though the G3 has an excuse, we're kind of a little bit surprised to also see on this guy, the G3S, that is also a little bit laggy, using the Snapdragon 400 on a 720p screen. So the question is, what's going on, LG? Is this kind of non-optimized or not optimized to the degree that we've seen before on other platforms? Possibly. Or it could just be that maybe the 1 GB of RAM that you're getting here is actually causing some issues when you're transitioning from your camera app or your browser back to the home screen, which is kind of where we're seeing the lagginess.
Good.
How's that? So inside here, with the G3S, you're getting a 2,540 milliamp hour battery, which for a 5-inch device is fairly substantial. We've seen the Z2 and the Z3 kind of go closer to 3,000 mark, but I think that's not bad. They've crammed in a decent sized battery here. Now in our laptop magazine test that we kind of use as a standard in our reviews, we're looking at about 8 hours, which is not exceptional, but pretty good. Overall, I quite like one feature, the battery saver feature, which is, let's be honest, this is becoming kind of standard on most phones now. It's set so that the default is 30% battery. It's going to kick in to automatically use the battery saver mode. You can also configure battery saver mode to decide kind of what happens in battery saver. So you can configure it to turn off the Wi-Fi, the Bluetooth, also vibration, and also set exactly what brightness level you're going to have on the battery saver, which is going to eke out a lot more battery life. So overall, as you would expect, with any device in 2014, you're going to get all day. You might not quite get the 2-day or 2.5 day that you're going to get with some larger phablet devices or exceptional devices, maybe as we've seen on some Sonys. But overall, the LG is pretty solid.
Okay, I'm going to leave you to it. It's running.
So one thing I really like about LG's recent additions to the smartphone market is the software. You just go into here, you can see straight away that the menus are a little bit different, but I just want to show you that this is running, where are we, software information. We're running Android 4.4.2, and it's very slick, it's very nice. We did notice some lag just every once in a while if you have a few tabs open or you're coming out from the camera, but I think as we mentioned in the performance section, I think that's probably more to do with 1 GB of memory. I think 2 GB might have been a better option, but anyway, the main thing is, the message I'm trying to get across here is that I think it looks great. I mean, let's just have a little look at some of the options we can have. We can change these wallpapers. Let's have a look at our, okay, so we have options such as this guy is very bright, vibrant. There's the mountain view. We've got plenty of different options there, and you can download a lot more themes. But it's not just the themes that look good. I think, generally speaking, the OS itself looks great. I mean, these icons look very modern. And I think LG have kind of created their own style. It's a bit different from what we've seen with Xiaomi and also with Huawei recently, which are kind of more like an Apple kind of idea with all of your apps on one central area or basically on your home screens. Here we do have an app drawer, which is much more similar to what we're used to with vanilla Android or true Android, if you like. In terms of menus, you'll notice that when we go back into here, go back into settings, you can see that they've kind of divided things up in a little bit differently. Network, sound, display, and then general. So general is kind of like just things that don't go with this network, sound, or display. So here you can see in sound, we've got lots of different options. But if we don't like that, we can always go back here and say switch to list view. And that will then bring us to a much more standard kind of Android menu system. If we just stay here for a second, because I'm kind of more familiar with this, we can look at, let's take a look at the one-handed operation options. You can see that you can have the dial keypad, we can have it to the left or the right when you're dialing a button, so you're one-handed, it's a lot easier. Also the keyboard, you can have the keyboard kind of positioned on the left side or the right side, and also the lock screen can do the same. We've seen this before, but I think it all helps, and this is the kind of device which has been optimized in terms of form factor for one-handed operation, so it's good to see the software is also there. Let's go back actually and just switch to this tab view for a second. Let's have a look. There's nothing particularly too interesting there. In terms of display, what do we have? Okay, let's take a look at home touch buttons. This is quite interesting because you can see, obviously we've got all of the buttons here all in software. They're on the screen. There are no hardware buttons here. And the cool thing is that you can actually, if you don't want these three like so, you can switch those around, which I think is rather good because as we've seen in the past, Sony, Samsung, LG, they do tend to have, especially when the home button's usually always in the middle, but then you've got this back button and you've also got the kind of your app drawer button over here on the left. But it's great to see that you can have the Q slide button, the quick memo button, and notifications. I'm quite a fan actually of having notifications just here in the corner, but you can add up to 5 in total. So there you go, that's us maxed out along the bottom here. So I think that's quite interesting. LG's giving you the opportunity to kind of utilize this space a little bit better. And why not? If it's in software, why can't we? It kind of just makes sense. Let's go back out of here. Let's see what else do we have. Obviously brightness controls, auto rotate. We have the daydream function. Let's go back into general. One other operation we've already, okay, guest mode. This is quite interesting. We've seen this before with, well, recently with Huawei. We've also seen Samsung do a similar thing. You can turn on guest mode, and that means that when you give it to a buddy of yours, you say, hey, you want to borrow my phone? Here you go. But you can decide which apps are allowed. So right here, we've got quite a limited selection of calculator, camera, gallery, music. That's just kind of by default. I think, yeah, we can let guests use Chrome. Why not? We don't want them to make phone calls, so maybe we don't give them contacts, but we can let them use CPU-Z. Why not? And we can go back. And we can also change the wallpaper so that you can immediately identify guest mode just by the home screen. So I think this is all quite useful functions. Generally speaking, if we go back into here, you can see that we have a choice of, we can put apps on the home screens, and we can also have a choice of widgets. A lot of these are very generic actually. I don't think there are any widgets which are particularly outstanding, but we do have quite a broad range. I mean, look at this cursor here. We have a lot of options for a lot of different apps, a lot of Google apps in particular, but also you can see here there's a line widget and 2 different kinds of music widgets. I think overall that's pretty impressive. So in terms of software, I have to say LG are knocking the ball right out of the park. This is one of the best real Android flavored, highly customized UIs that we have seen on a smartphone device. It's for the most part very, very slick and butter smooth.
So as a huge LG fangirl, I had to weigh in on this review because this might be one of the best smartphones in the market for me. I was a huge LG G2 fan. I love that phone irrationally. And when the G3 came along, I thought that I would fall in love all over again. And I didn't. I actually made a video about how it just broke my heart. So when I met with LG at IFA, they were like, Nicole, maybe the LG G3S is actually the phone that you're really pining for. It's smaller, it fits in your pocket, you can use it with one hand, woohoo! And it doesn't have the QHD display, because I do not like QHD, not a big fan, makes the phone hot, uses up too much processing power, your phone is more likely to lag, and honestly, I don't need that many extra pixels. I would rather have longer battery life than more pixels that my eye can't even see, so I don't even know the point of that. So, LG G3S, thank you LG for making such a great phone, and Stu, I'll give you the rest of your conclusion back.
So Nicole has just raised some very, very valid points. And I think most of it relates, of course, to size. The G3 and some other smartphones of the 5-inch or 5.5-inch form factor are just a little bit too big for a lot of people to use one-handed wise, which is a huge thing. So I think actually in terms of form factor and size, the G3S is actually a really nice sweet spot for a lot of users. So I think this is how I would conclude it. This is a phone which might compete with a lot of top-end flagship smartphone devices. It doesn't have all of the glamour, it doesn't have the HD, the 1080p or even QHD screen and a very high performance platform, but overall it's a solid phone that we're quite happy to recommend. This is Stu from Mobile Geeks. If you like this kind of stuff, don't forget to subscribe. See you later.